Manchester United needs signings, and we need a lot of signings. And yes, the squad has improved greatly, and the performances have been good. But we saw when we had to rely on some of the second-string players, the drop-off was absolutely incredible. And injuries, suspensions, extracurricular activities, and players just leaving have absolutely decimated the squad. And if we want to be pushing continually to be title challengers, Manchester United need depth. And it's not just first-team players. You might need backup players. You're going to need every single flavour of all of those. And I think one way that you're going to get them, because we know we need a striker, right? And you're going to have to spend big cash on a striker that's good enough to lead the line for Manchester United. I think you need another midfielder. You arguably need a right-back. You probably need a centre-half. Loads of us think we also need a goalkeeper. You ain't going to spend 100 million on every single one of those players. That's far too much cash. We're not Chelsea, and we're not playing by the FFP doesn't count sort of rules that they seem to be. So what are we going to do? We're going to look into the free market. That's what we're going to do. Whose players are out of contract? Who can we get? Which ones are going to come and add something to the squad? Well, I've got a great one for you, and that's Skriniar. There's loads of rumours about him going to PSG in the summer, but I would love United to nip in and nab him. Centre-half. What? Centre-half. 28 years of age. Four-time winner of Slovakian Footballer of the Year award. And we have been linked with him for the longest time. He's been at Inter Milan since 2015. In that time, he's become one of Serie A's most aggressive, most powerful, yet calmest and composed defenders. Aggressive in a tackle, a little bit like Martinez, but reads the game really well as well. And his time at Inter, he's played under loads of different managers and systems. He can play in a back three, he can play in a back two. He's actually even done a job at fullback. He get his arse back and defend. He is the defender's defender. And he plays with his heart on his sleeve. I think he'd be absolutely loved by United fans. And, he's coming from a very defensively strong, very tactical league in Serie A. But I think he's got the physicality to cope. He's also a good ball-playing defender, and he ranks in the top 5 of European defenders for pass completion in a team that doesn't really dominate the ball to the level of City and Bayern Munich and that. And I'm not saying he's better than Varane or Martinez, although there's nothing between them, really, in the grand scheme of things. But he's a massive upgrade on Harry Maguire. I think United need experience in the defensive line. I think it's all right having good young players coming through, and I think the club should prioritise players that are going to be here for a long time. But there's also an appetite to be able to start competing as quick as possible. And a free transfer for a 28-year-old player with the level of experience and ability that Skriniar's got, he's a very smart man in my opinion, because he's going to get big contract offers because of the free transfer element of the fact that you're bringing him in for free and saving money on the transfer. He's going to go somewhere big. You might as well try and get him in. In midfield, another player that United have been linked with for a long time, and you might benefit from him having a bit of an off-season, and that's Youri Tielemans. Now, Tielemans' been a player we've been linked with, honestly, for years, and it was surprising nobody picked him up last summer after a very good season on a cheap price, with him only having 12 months left. Now, he's got to the end of that 12 month, and this summer he will be going on a free unless he signs a new deal, and I don't think there's an appetite for him to sign that new deal. He's played second fiddle to James Maddison in a big way, but there is a player in Youri Tielemans, and I don't think he's as good as a midfield dribbler as a Verratti or a Modric, but he offers a lot. And he offers something that United don't currently have in our midfield. He breaks up play really well. He is a good passer of the ball. He's got a great long-range shot on him, and he's scored a couple against us. And I think he's a really well-rounded player with Premier League experience. And I think Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno is one of the best midfields on paper in the league. But if you've got Sabitzer and Tielemans to come in and bolster that when the inevitable injuries and suspensions and rest needs to happen, what a midfield you've started to assemble. And he's in the top 15% in midfielders for expected assists, passes attempted, progressive passes. He's in the top 20% for shot creating actions and blocks. This is a guy that we know what he can do. He ain't having a great season, but we know what he's capable of. He is free, and he's only 25 years of age. Again, it's free. I think he would be an excellent player to come and add a little bit to the squad. Now, You know who else is on a free? Messi. I'm not. Imagine. No, I wouldn't get Messi. Even if you get Qatar, I don't want Messi. I think that upsets the apple cart. We've had the big egos. We're trying to build a team. Good luck going back to Barcelona, where you're definitely going. But on the forward front, I got a couple of options here for you. Marcus Thuram is coming up on a free, and I think he would be a fantastic option as a backup to a Kane or an Howson kind of type. And I think you're going to end up with someone like this. Probably someone on a free transfer or less than 20 million is going to be the backup, because I think you're going to go 80 plus million on your first choice. Now, obviously, Mönchengladbach, 13 goals, 5 assists so far this season. Last couple of months, the goals have dried up a little bit, but the numbers are still good. He is still very young, and there's a lot of potential with him. And he's free. I mean, I'm going to keep saying it. Hence the name that it's a free transfer video. Rapid, great in and out of possession, good attitude, makes clever movements. 6'3", 25 years of age. Has got the work rate similar to what you got out of Weghorst, but he's got the goal scoring capability at the other end of the pitch. He can dribble it. He can take people on. He can create assists and create chances for other people. He's an absolute beast, and I think he's a great player that United could do bits with, especially being on a free. Great age profile, bit of experience about him. Free. If you got those three on free transfers, I think you're flying. But I'm going to give you guys the option. Thuram, or hear me out on this one, because this is a wild card. Wilfried Zaha. And we've been here before, Steve. Yep, we've been here before, but it was David Moyes, and I think that gives you a lot of leeway. He failed at United. It was Ferguson's last ever signing, but we kept him at Palace, so realistically, he played for Moyes. And when I say played for Moyes, he played 4 times. And then that was his United career done. Now, he moved back to Crystal Palace. He might have had that yearning to go back. There was a lot of talk at the time that he was driving back to London after training in an afternoon because he didn't know what to do. By the sounds of things, United have got their act together off the pitch and are treating our athletes a lot better, and are settling them in after they've signed a lot better. The club is in massive upheaval, losing the greatest manager the world's ever seen, replacing him with David Moyes. All of those little support networks that Fergie was just in command of, they all disappeared. But Zaha has maintained or become one of the most consistent forwards in the Premier League. He's got 109 Premier League contributions since he returned back to Palace in 2014-15 season. He's 30 years of age now, and he's still a very direct and effective winger that also plays as a number 9. His dribbling and take-on ability is as good as it gets. That was never in doubt for him. And there's a valid argument that he can be a big fish in a small pond. Perhaps that's why he went back to Palace, and I think he's been an excellent player for Palace over the last few years. I mean, last couple of seasons, he's had 11 and 14 Premier League goals. That's not to be sniffed at in a team as poor as Palace is. But I think it's different. I think Ten Hag has started a project. I think he's a very serious manager. I think Ten Hag could unlock another gear out of Wilf Zaha. And he could be a good option for when games a player needs a rest or we have injuries. Imagine him now. Marcus is a little bit iffy with his injury. Sancho's not in form. Anthony's had a bit of an up and down form. Garnacho's injured. Wilf Zaha would have played for United right now. Would he not? Would he not? And therefore, would United have been in a better position? Would we have had to squeeze as much juice as we've squeezed out of some of the players if we'd have had a Wilf Zaha? You can't drop Sancho at the moment, even though he doesn't deserve to play, because you've got nobody else you can play. Zaha on a free, like I said, he's not going to come in and take anybody's place. I'm not sure anybody on this list comes in and takes anybody's place. But if you can add good attitudes and good professionals into the squad, which I think is what I've selected on this list, I think you build a strong squad. And a squad is as good as its weaknesses, not as good as its strengths. And I think United here, showing what's the weakness that we've had this year? Depth. Players that the manager can trust. I think there's 4 players here. I'm going to say to you guys, pick 3 of them. Who would you have? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.